Hello everyone, Shavua Tov, and here we are again in Parashat Noach, another year, another opportunity. Just to remind everybody that the word for year in Hebrew, Shana, has few meanings to describe what it is about. Oh, we can look at it as time passing by. I'm a year older, or a year smarter, or a year more fit, or a year more capable. You can choose, but the meaning for the word year, it's like the word Shana has few meanings. First of all, the word Shana comes from the word repeated, to repeat. So we're repeating what? We're repeating opportunities. The Zohar says, as we said before Rosh Hashanah, that during 1 year, a person goes through, theoretically, all the possible opportunities for him or her to become perfect, to become complete. If we just use all the opportunities, we'll become perfect in 1 year. And because the Creator loves us and He's very, very, very fond about us, hysterically fond about us, He trusts us to be able to do it 1 year. That's why when the year is over, we need to get, and we are not perfect, we need to get another year. We need to get the budget for another year, because the Creator was not my child. They will do it in 1 year. That will be it. Okay? And then we get another year. Another meaning for the word year is to study, to learn. Lishnot means in Hebrew to study, to learn. So every year is an opportunity to study and to learn. Also, Shana, the Shin Nun Hey, comes also from the word leshanot, to change, which means we're supposed to change ourselves every year for the better. Because it's like trying to run up. Life is like trying to walk up the escalators that are going down. The moment you stop running up the stairs, you're going down, till finally it throws you in the bottom floor, right? So another thing that the year is about, that Shana, 300 Gematria of 355, and that is the number of days in a lunar year. Another thing is that Shana 355 is also the Gematria of Sphira, and Sphira means a sphere, which means it's a frequency, it's a universe, it's a world with all its rules, with all its structure. When somebody is in a sphere, the word sphere comes from the Hebrew word sphira, which means when you're in your sphere, you can't see other spheres or people in other spheres, which means every year has its own rules, its own experience. It's like a world of itself that we are experiencing. So, welcome to the new year of 5759 that is supposed to be different than the years before, especially different because there's never been a year like this before. Every year is like this. Okay? So, what about Parashat Noach? Parashat Noach means that we're really getting into the movie, into playing or composing, editing, directing our own movie. Each person with his own movie. Now, we already learned in the previous Parashat Bereshit, we read just yesterday on Shabbat, that at the moment Adam was created, trouble started. That's why maybe he was created last. So you can't say he was in the committee of creating the rest of the world. And that's why the Midrash is saying that when a human being sins, it says to him, you know what? Even a mosquito was there before you, which has a double meaning. The mosquito was created before you, so he has more rights than you have. That's one thing. Another thing, what the Rabbi is saying in his Tree of Life, a mosquito is above you and in front of you because he will never do something against the rules of the universe. He will never generate negativity. So when mosquitoes bite me, they're not negative. They love dinner. Why should you hate your dinner? right? Finally you found it. Why should they love you, right? The same way you love your dinner. Okay, otherwise they won't continue eating. So you have to understand that except from human beings, the rest of the creation somehow they know each creature. Doesn't matter small or big, somehow they know how to fit into the rules. And when you know humans around, seems to be that nature ticks like a very sophisticated machine, and everything has the ability to repair itself, to grow, to multiply, whatever. The moment humans are moving in, we're in trouble. That means that we humans, we have to learn how to fit into the universe. We have to learn how to play by the rules of the game of the universe. Where can I find the rules? It's in the Torah. The question is, like everything, understanding, learning, effort, exercising, and interpretation. You know, people can read the rules and do the opposite. Why? It felt like it meant this and this and this. So the fact that people can read, the question is, do they really have the ability to read? Or they do just use the reading to emphasize what they knew before. You know, sometimes we listen to someone, he tells us something, and when he finishes, we realize we didn't listen. We're hearing what we expected to hear, and not what the person really had to say. Okay? So, starting with that, here we are, humanity, next stage. After Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge, after Cain killing Abel, now we have the next stage, which is Noah and the flood, and we'll read it in Genesis chapter 6, from verse 9 and on. Although we had kind of an introduction in the end of Parashat Bereshit, that the world was not really going in the right direction. Humanity was not really going in the right direction. Okay? And then the stage is for Noah on, as I said, chapter 6, verse 9. From there on, we are continuing to the story of the flood, the destruction, the terrible destruction, and then humanity is trying to rebuild itself. And then in the next story, after the destruction, we have humanity in chapter 11, verse 1. Humanity is coming back to become a society. Okay? But then it starts nice, because they are Noah's children. They have something behind them, as we're going to see. But what it says, "Vayi kol haaretz safah achat u'dvarim achadim," and the whole earth was one language. Everybody was united. And then it says they found a place. They live in the land of Shinar, that most scholars are saying that was in today's south of Iraq. And they settled over there. Vayamru ish el achiv, verse 3, chapter 11. Vayamru ish el achiv el re'eu. They spoke to each other and said, let us build, here's the Tower of Babel. Let us build a city with a tower, and the tower has its head in the heaven. Okay? How tall should that be? Vayered Hashem lirot et ha'ir, and God, the Creator, came down to see the city and the tower that the children of Adam made. And then God says, but they are one nation, one language, and all of them are united. And because they just started to do that and they're united, nothing can stop them from their goal. So what happened? Their language has been messed up. They didn't understand each other. They separated into different 70 nations, and that's the beginning of the split of humanity. Okay, but however, nobody died over here. First time we have an episode that nobody dies. Even when it says that Adam and Eve, they ate from the tree of knowledge, they didn't die on the spot, although the Zohar said they did die on the spot. But they started to die like we do. Every time we get disappointed, we die a little bit. Every time we get upset, we die a little bit. Every time we get despair, we die a little bit. Our body, it can be shown. It can be shown. Just was published last week. There was a big research that was done on a bunch of people, and they found out that people had traumatized as kids. They went to a DNA transformation. A trauma, heavy pain, can shut down some of your gene and turn on some other genes. And that's why some people who genetically have high risk for having cancer or stuff like this because it's genetical, not everybody gets it. It's because certain lifestyle can shut certain genes down, another lifestyle, experiences, and interpretation for experiences. They can shut down some genes or they can activate some dormant genes. Okay, so this is like, it's called epigenetics, but it shows you that dying is a choice. And that's what we're here for, because we are here to study the Torah, because the Torah is called the tree of life. Whoever is holding on to it. Why tree of life? Because if you really know how to study the Torah, you'll learn how to turn death off and to turn life on. Now, how do you do that? And that's starting with Noach. So the Zohar says as follows, and that will give us basically the mission for our life for a year. Okay. Come and see. I'm reading from verse 2 in the Zohar in the commentary of Rabbi Yashlag. Bore, I'll read first the original. Tachazi, come and see. Kol Israel itlon chulka le'alma de'ati. All Israel have a share in the world to come. Mai tama, what's the reason? Begin the natrin b'de alma itkayem alei. Because they observe the covenant, and the world exists only standing on that covenant. Why? We'll see. Kamada Amar, as it says, this is a very famous verse, which is in Isaiah 60, Im lo briti yomam v'layla chukot shamayim v'aretz lo samti. God is saying, if not observing my covenant day and night, the rules of the universe are not there. They won't be there. Between God is saying, when people do not observe the rules, then there's no reason for the world to exist. And we know, again, when people, as we said, when people do not observe the rules, the universe falls apart. Very simple. Okay? So what does it mean observing the rules? And therefore, Israelites who observe the covenant, and accepting upon themselves, itlon chulaka be'almedate, they have a share in the world to come. And that also means about the righteous among the nations, because that also speaks about it. Velod, ela begin, because we're going to talk about it, because the covenant is in this parasha. First, the covenant is first with Noach and all of his descendants, which means all of humanity. And that's called the Noahide laws. This is the first covenant. And what's the symbol of the covenant? The rainbow. That's a symbol of the covenant, right? It's in this parasha. However, Velod, so that's why people who observe the covenant are called tzaddikim. Okay, tzaddik. What does tzaddik means? So somehow it's translated into righteous, but the word tzaddik does not mean righteous. Righteous comes from the word right. The ones who do it what right. Tzaddik is something else. And the Zohar explains. מכאן למדנו שכל מי ששומר הברית שהעולם מתקיים עליו נקרא צדיק. So we learn, whoever observes the covenant is called a tzaddik. Okay? And there are other people that are very self-righteous. They're not tzaddikim. And there's two different words. מאין לנו זה? How do we know that? מיוסף. We know it from Joseph, the righteous, right? Everybody calls him Joseph, the righteous. How did he get that name? Because he observed the covenant. What does it mean? He was there in bed with his master's wife. And remember, this is Egypt some 30, almost 4,000 years ago. He was her property. She could have done with him whatever she likes. He had no right to judge her. He had no right to say no. He was a slave, a Hebrew slave. Okay? He risked his life, ran away from her bed, ran away from her room, hearing her screams, knowing there are going to be terrible, dire consequences. He still did not, he had a higher authority to answer for. Which means, yes, she owns his body, but somebody else owns his soul. And there, how far does it go? And because he risked his life, because he could be easily executed for just saying no to your master. That's the way it was, right? Somehow he survived and he became Joseph the righteous. Why? Because he observed the covenant. That's what's important over here. What does it mean? So what does it mean to observe the covenant? So the Zohar continues into it. וזה שכתוב, and that's what it says, ועמך כולם צדיקים, and your nation, all of them are tzadikim. Okay, but what does it mean? So when it says, אלה תולדות נוח, these are the generations of Noach, and it says Noach is tzaddik. And it should be said, אלה תולדות נוח, these are generations of Noach, Shem, Ham, and Yefet. Okay? What, it's like, it's not in place. Why the generation of Noach that he was a tzaddik? Okay? שפירושו שנוח היה שומר הברית. Noach observed the covenant. But there was no covenant yet. There was a covenant. ועל כן התקיימו תולדותיו, and therefore his generations, his offsprings, have had continuity. That's us, all of mankind. And the others that did not observe the covenant, their generations did not continue. They were extinct. Okay? And that's why it says, these are the generations of Noach. Noach is tzaddik, to show you there's a connection between being righteous, observing the covenant, and what happens to your offsprings. Rabbi Elazar Amar. Rabbi Elazar is going into this kind of description that will allow us to get what are we talking about. Verse 4 in the Zohar. Rabbi Elazar Amar, למדנו בכל מקום שכתוב אלה, it says אלה תולדות נוח. The word אלה, which translates somehow to these are, okay, or those are. Every time the word ele, there's a rule, it means these are what? So whatever was before are not there anymore. It's like it cancels what was the before. It's a rule, it says in the reading of the Torah. פוסל את הראשונים. מה כתוב? What does it mean? מה כתוב למעלה? בפרשת בראשית, in פרשת בראשית it says, ונהר יוצא מעדן. And a river flows coming out from Eden. Okay? So what does it mean? Was Eden a physical place? We learned that it's not. Why? Because if Adam was told up to the heaven, and he was shining more than the sun, so was the heaven a physical place? No, because the perception of physicality, which is basically kind of blindness, was not created yet, only after the sin. Okay? So what kind of a river was there flowing in heaven? And the answer is, we are talking about the Sphira of Yesod. What is the Sphira of Yesod? The Sphira of Yesod is a very important Sphira of the 10 Sphirot. This is the Sphira that is number 9 from above, from the top. And that's a Sphira before Malchut, which is our Sphira. We live in a Sphira which is called Malchut. What do I mean Malchut? Kingdom. Because the customer is always the king. Right? We are the end user. When we draw in bliss from above, it flows through all the system down to us. Meanwhile, when it flows through the system, all the Sphirot are being watered, right? Are being fed with bliss, with flow. When we block it through our behavior, then the upper Sphirot also get blocked. Why? Because, let's say there's a store. Nobody buys. Nobody buys. What does it mean? That everything stays on the shelves. What does it mean? No new merchandise is coming in because the flow is blocked. Correct? So the same like here. When we bring down the bliss, then it flows through the other Sphirot. When we block it down through our actions, then there's no flow in the upper Sphirot. Now, the Sphira that is number 9, one above us, Sfirat Yesod, this is like the funnel that all the bliss and good luck and fortune and whatever flows from above, from the right, from the left, from the center, from everything, life, sustenance, everything, it has to go through Sfirat Yesod. When the person experiences blockage, poverty, no luck, whatever it means, this Sfirat Yesod is blocked. Okay? And what does it mean that it is blocked? It means that this river, which is Yesod, that is coming from Eden, which is the upper Sphirot, and comes into the garden, which is Sfirat Malchut, our world, ומשקיע אותו משיקוי של מעלה, and waters it, right? Feeds it with the upper feed, ועושה לו נחת רוח, and makes him pleased. What? Because what is that we want? Do we want money? Do we want food? Or we want to be pleased? Remember, we have to be able to set the difference between what is a real goal and what is a mean. Money is a mean. Food is a mean. People, family, society, it's a mean. The goal is we want to feel pleased. We want to be watered. We want to feel the flow of the godly light into our lives. Okay? ועושה פירות ומגדל זרעים, and then what happens when we feel that nurturing energy coming in? Then we grow, then we develop, then we bear fruits and seeds, then we become creative. All of that is because there is a connection to Sfirat Yesod. Okay? And nowadays it brings another very important explanation to what Shabbat is about, because it says Kivo Shabbat. When it says because Bo, in it, he had a Shabbat that we read in the Bereshit, Kibo Shabbat. Okay? We read in the Kiddush. That's where the Creator made the Shabbat. Who's Bo? That's Yesod. What does it mean? When we go through the weekdays, we have to make actions, have the kavanah, consciousness, to connect to that river, so we can experience the flow of nourishment and nurturing in our lives. This is something we have to do consistently, because without that, we do not connect to Yesod. So that is the day-to-day work of a human being. Not just to be greedy and being busy, what do I get? Is how do I get it? And we'll come into it. And how do I connect to Sfirat Yesod? So we know during the 6 days of the week, we have moments we are on and we have moments we are off. On, what does it mean? We are attached to Yesod. We are off, we detached from Yesod. There's a flow, there's no flow. It's all about on and off, right? Shabbat, it's on the whole Shabbat. What we have to do is just do not disturb it. You also have to keep the rules not to disturb it. Then it's on the whole Shabbat. When it's on, it is menucha. What is menucha? Rest. Real rest. You know, a person can go to a vacation in the most luxurious hotel. Okay? Everybody is running around him like crazy because he's a VIP. Okay? All the waiters and whatever, everybody is around him and he's like, just have your rest. Whatever you want, we just give you. And he's totally restless. Why? Because he's not on. He's not connected. So yes, physically it looks like he's being catered, but he doesn't feel rest. He's restless because his mind and soul are not on. It's not connected to Yesod. How to connect to Yesod? We'll come to see it soon. So Shabbat is rest because in Shabbat we can access the connection to Yesod ongoingly without the fear that that will be shut down, cut off. So that's rest. When you're on, when you're not afraid it's going to be cut off, and when it all flows in and then you feel real rest. When you not feel rested, it's nothing to do with physicality. The person can feel rested and he's walking in the garden, he's schlepping stuff, carrying stuff, but he's feeling very, very rested because mentally he's rested, right? Here we're talking about rested means when you're connected to Yesod and the flow, ongoing flow of positive energy, that's called rest. We're not inanimate. Inanimate, when you leave him alone, don't move it, it's rested. No, we need to have ongoing flow. The same thing today. When you want to be, to be in a passive state of it's okay. It is conditioned that you have water flowing in your faucets, that you have electricity in your socket, right? All of this has to be flowing on, otherwise it's a disaster, right? So rest is a result of ongoing flow of bliss and fortune. And that's what Shabbat is about. Now after we understand what does it mean, the state of mind of Yesod, of Noach, of connecting to Yesod. What does it mean? When a person is connected to Yesod, there's a flow in his creativity, energy, life force, and you see, how do you know? The Zohar says, you see also fruits to your actions. Children, actions, creativity, stuff like that. There's a continuity, right? Come and see. Verse 5 in the Zohar. On the same note, Noach, lemata, Noach down below as a human being, as a physical human being, eyes, ears, whatever, physical human being, as a mortal. Haya brit kodesh k'mo yesod shel mala. He was the covenant like the yesod up above. What does it mean? When a person has this commitment to a covenant, and especially to the covenant of loyalty, integrity, okay, justice, all of what we're talking about, then he becomes connected by activating Sfirat Yesod within that person. I'll remind you, I didn't say it for a long time. Around the beginning of the 90s, in the 90s came out this big book, very important book in the history of economy. It was a research. The guy, Collins, he interviewed about 500 people, of the top of the American industry, corporate America. And he asked them, who, from your own interactions, which are the top companies in America that they walk the talk. They say they have values and ethics and a mission and so on, and they really do that. And he came out with 18 big companies. He compared them to 18 other companies, and both groups had to be in the stock market from 1926 to 1990. And they compared one company to another in the same area. And he said, okay, so now if I put $1 in the stock market in New York, in a kind of a fund that is invested in all 18 companies of vision. What I mean vision? They really had a vision, and they really, each worker in the company walked the talk. Okay? So, if you put $1 in a fund that is made of stocks of these 18 companies, and you put as a control $1 in a fund that is made of 18 control companies, the companies who are there to make money in the same market, same size, and so on. No. So what did they find out? That $1 of the money-making companies, which are the normal companies, it's like everybody, you're making, you're going to work because you are going to make money, right? Made $1 from 1926 to 1990, made $450 something. Okay? But if you put the same dollar in a fund invested in the companies with a vision, $1 made over $6,000. That's kind of a difference, right? Between who makes more money, tzaddikim or reshaim? Who makes more money? People with a covenant, with a vision, with loyalty to a vision, which means they are there not to make money, they are there to serve. The weirdest thing is, the ones who are there to serve make much more money than the ones who are there just simply to make money. What do we get out of it? Exactly what it says over here. When you have a covenant, what does it mean? You answer to a higher authority. Yes, there is a lower authority, which means I'm here as a human being and I'm here to take. I didn't really come to give. I give because I have to. Because I have to. But my agenda is very simple. What do you think I opened this business for? This is a non-profit? No, this is a business. I'm here to make money. No. Looks like you run your business as a non-profit, you make much more profit. That's what the numbers show. The name of the book is Built to Last by Jim Collins. That's a proof. This is a proof that what the Zohar says, it is real. Why? Because the moment you have a loyalty to the covenant, you answer to a higher authority, you have connected to Sfirat Yesod. And the moment you connected to that frequency, which is called Sfirat Yesod, you're a tzaddik. And what does it mean? Bliss flows through you to this world. What does it mean? Your life, this is weird because we live in a generation which says individualism, 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 narcissism, narcissism, whatever. It's like just think about yourself. The rest of the world doesn't count. Just, go for yourself. What's the result? The more narcissistic, the more individualistic a person is, the more lonely they become, the miserable they transform to become. Why? You're not connected to your soul. How do you connect to your soul? You need a mission. You are there to serve. You're there to take from the above, that's Sfirat Yesod, and to share it to below. What does it mean, doing business? Doing business is to put things together for someone who doesn't know how to do it for themselves, right? That's why they're willing to pay you. But what it means, that it's more than that. There's a joke about this guy. He ran a company and he put an ad saying that he's looking for salespeople. Okay? Hundreds of people brought in their resumes. Okay, he went through all the resumes. The ones that he didn't think they fit, he threw it away. Now the ones who he thought that they were fit, they were, they really fit the job, he took a bunch of the files or the requests and he threw it to the garbage. So his secretary is asking him, "Hello, boss, what are you doing? You just went to a lot of work and you just got this pile of requests and resumes of people that fit and you throw it to the garbage?" He says, "When I want a salesperson, wants somebody who is lucky." You didn't get it? The ones I threw to the garbage, they're not lucky. Why did I pick them up? The ones who stayed, they are the lucky ones. I want the ones who have luck. Why? Because good luck is very much more important than wisdom, experience, learning, all of this stuff. If you're not lucky, so what does it matter how many titles do you have? What does it matter how many years you are in the business? If you're not lucky, my grandma used to say, you better you're not born in the first place. Right? But the question is good luck predetermined or can we change it? And the answer is, we can change it. And that's what he says. When we work, when we make the effort to be attached to Sfirat Yesod, then fortune opens up and you become lucky. This is how it works. Noah was lucky, he was saved, everybody else perished. Why? Noah kept the covenant. And what does it mean? Now let's continue. Verse 5 in the Zohar. Noach below in the physical world is a human being, is a physical flesh and blood human being. He was the holy covenant, like Sfirat Yesod up and above. That's why he was called the man of the land. What is the man of the land? Being a farmer, that connects a lot to good luck. Why a farming community is very religious. You have to pray for the rain in its time. You have to pray there are no floods. You pray against drought. You have to pray there's not going to be any locust plague and stuff like this, because you play, as it says in Shir HaMa'alot, Azorim Bedima Berinai Tzoru, the ones who sow, who plant the seeds with tears, they reap with happiness. Every time people plant with seeds, they reap with happiness? No, this is not reality. A lot of people invest, plant whatever, and there are no fruits. Why? Why aren't there fruits? No Yesod connection. Yesod connection is what determines if you are successful or not, you're happy or not, if you are restful or restless. It's the Yesod. How do we connect to Yesod? In order to connect to Yesod, you have to attach yourself to Yesod. You have to have an affinity to Yesod. What creates the affinity? Your behavior and your belief systems. Maybe first your belief systems and then your behavior. What kind of belief system? And as we said, Isha Adama, he was the man of the land. What does it mean? If you are a person of integrity, you're going to have fruits. If you connect to the covenant and you go by the covenant, and the covenant is more important than the little instant easy gains, then you'll be the man of the land, because you're right now becoming a conduit of Sfirat Yesod. Now you can feed this physical world with bliss and good fortune. And we all know they are very smart business people that do not make a penny. Do you know some kind of people like this? They're so smart. They can tell you stuff amazing. They have connection amazing. They can't bring money home. Why? They have no Yesod connection. No Yesod connection. So it doesn't, yeah, you can make contracts, you can make this, you can make, but if you're not lucky. But lucky is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of work. It's not just a physical work. It's especially the spiritual and mental work. Becoming connected to Yesod, you have to vibrate Yesod. You have to bring yourself into the affinity with Yesod. And what does it mean? It means integrity and loyalty to the rules, to the covenant. And therefore, we learn a secret. ולמדנו סוד אשר נוח היה צריך אל התיבה הרומזת למלכות כדי להתחבר בה ולקיים זרע כל העולם כמו שכתוב לחיות זרע. So Noach needed, for that purpose, he needed the ark. What does it mean he needed the ark? Of course, if he didn't hide in the ark, he would be perished in the rain like everybody else. Isn't that simple? What do you mean he needed the ark? No, it says he needed the ark. The ark, if Noach was a conduit, a chariot for Sfirat Yesod. What does it mean a chariot? What do you mean a chariot? The word chariot is coming from the French word charrette. Charrette is like Hebrew merkava. What is charrette? To compose. To compose what? A man, a structure with wheels, and a horse. Right? It's a composition. If one of them do not function, it doesn't go anywhere. Correct? Then you need to compose two things or three and make them work. That's called a chariot. Merkava. That's why the Sfirot systems are called Ma'aseh Merkava. It's a composition. So what about this composition? Oh, when a person combines his physical body needs with the spiritual, celestial needs, thoughts, emotions, and connection, and you know how to harmonize between the two, you become a chariot. You are now connecting Yesod and Malchut. You're connecting the upper world and the lower world. When they are connected in harmony, there's rest. What does it mean? No anxiety, no anger, no tantrum, no fear, no, I lost it, no, lost it. Everything is one. This is our goal. This is what we were created for, to become chariots. So each one of us is in actions, in his belief system, in his emotions. He's always on keeping the covenant. What's the covenant? It's about, first of all and foremost, I'm here a messenger of the light. I'm here a chariot. I'm bringing in the message, and I walk my talk. In my speech, in my conversations, in the way I'm doing business, it's all about that. Parashat Noach usually, always, happens to be on the month of Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan, the bitter Cheshvan. Why call it Idbar? Oh, it says, the Bnei Yisachar, he quotes other midrashim that say, Mar Cheshvan, this month is always a month that decrees, economical decrees come upon. Now, 1929, the stock market collapses in New York. That creates a cascade of events, finally leading to World War II and its disasters. Okay? Uh, when was it? Cheshvan. Cheshvan. 1983 on Cheshvan, the whole banking system in Israel collapses. All the banks were going bankrupt, and the government had to confiscate, to nationalize the banks and to get them back on their feet. Okay? 1983. That was Cheshvan. 1987. Wall Street collapses again. It was on Cheshvan. 2008. The major collapse happens on Cheshvan. Okay? So, does that mean that this coming Cheshvan is everybody has to take a shelter? No, it doesn't mean. But it means that a lot of stress, and we know when the market collapses, it is mostly psychological. It's a mass psychosis of a lot of people getting scared, anxiety, whatever. This is the month. This is the month. Cheshvan, pressure, stuff. You know what? All the judgments we did not repair, connect, remove, cleanse during the high holidays, now are coming up. Okay, this is what you have to do today, this year, this life. So when is it coming up? On Cheshvan. So Cheshvan is a very intense month. It's Scorpio. And you know, people with the sign of Scorpio, they never have nice, easy life. It's always intense. It's always interesting. Never a dull moment. Right? So, what is Cheshvan about? Stress, pressure on one hand. On the other hand, whatever you're not going to make on Cheshvan, you're not going to make even months afterwards. When is that we are really the most productive? Under pressure. Right? Some people under pressure collapse. Some people under pressure thrive. Okay? When things are not going anywhere, everything is lax and peaceful, whatever, most people die. Right? Just die. It's boring. It's boring. Why is it that it's very dangerous for astronauts when they're coming back to Earth after a long stay in the space station? No pressure. No pressure. Coming back to pressure, gravity, whatever, they can collapse. They have to go through quarantine and then to stages of getting used to all of this pressure. High holidays, amazing light coming from above. What comes with Cheshvan, Scorpio? Get back to business. This is how the world is. You know what? It's not perfect yet. How do you know? Look at your Cheshvan. You look how your Cheshvan looks like, you know what it is like. You know, even when a car goes, we said that the high holidays, it's like when your car goes for balancing. You know, once in a while your car has to go through this like really heavy tune-up, everything. After that you have the testing, right? You have a test time. Cheshvan, the month of Cheshvan is testing time. You know what is balanced, you know what is not balanced. The engine is very intense, very strong. However, you can easily find yourself in the ditch if you're not really careful. So, that's all about Noach. It's all about what was the thing about that, the major thing that the culture of the flood was with the problem with sexual misconduct. Noach did not follow the crowd. He became Noach tzaddik. Ish tzaddik היה. Noach ish tzaddik tamid. Joseph, when was it he became a tzaddik? When he refused to follow the whims of his mistress, right? So, we know that the sexual passion, desires, whatever, they are the most intense. They drive people out of their place, out of their sanity for time immemorial, since the beginning. We see it here. Okay? So, But does that mean that the only taste is sexual? No. Greed, money, bad-mouthing, lashon hara. There are a lot of passions we have that if we follow the covenant, following the covenant means overcoming and transforming those passions. It doesn't mean removing them. It means transforming them. Okay? Noach needed the ark. So what does it mean he needed the ark? What is the ark in this place? Shoel, ma'i teva? So the Zohar continues, verse 6 in the Zohar. What does it mean, an ark? V'omer, this is the ark of the covenant. Now you realize there's the two words going together, the ark of the covenant. Why the ark goes with the covenant? And by the way, a lot of people will still, I don't know, I think some people are still looking for the lost ark, right? My rabbi used to say, the lost ark is not lost. In every synagogue, there's an ark. And what's inside the ark? The Torah, which is Sfirat Yesod, which is the law. Every time we open the ark, the gates of heaven open up. All the way up to Yesod of Abba, Yesod of Sfirat Chochmah, all the Yesod open up. The question is, when you open the ark, do you open it because you have a wish list? Or do you open it up because you live what it says there in the covenant? And now you're just manifesting that. Right? So, the ark of the covenant, Noach, who's Yesod, the covenant, and the ark. So are we really talking about the physical ark? Are we talking about a lifestyle, a state of consciousness, belief system? Then when a person has on one hand discipline, integrity, service, being of service, all of that together needs a lot of discipline. Needs a lot of doing, being there for others. And that's basically, where is it coming from? As we learn in Parshat Bereshit, when it says, and there was a day and there was a night, one day. What do you mean one? When it says Yom Echad, one day, it means he is one and there's no other. Everything was already created on day one. Everything was all there in their fullest perfection and completion. The point is that it was all one. We humans need things to be set apart, so when we put them together to be one again, how do we feel? Like creators. That's why a lot of people who are sane, normal, whatever, they pay people to take a beautiful picture, cut it into pieces, and you pay for the pieces because it's called a puzzle, right? A jigsaw puzzle. Why do you pay somebody to cut it into pieces? Because I want to I cannot paint something like this, but I can put the pieces together. And when I put isn't that what life is about? How do you define a professional? It's somebody who can put together stuff that other people cannot put. That's why you pay them. So they'll put together stuff that you cannot pay. You bring a plumber to your home. Why do you bring a plumber? He can put things together that you don't know how to put it together. Right? What's about the businessman? Maybe he does not produce anything, but he can put together the producer and the consumer. That's very important. If they're not put together, there's no flow, there's no economy, there's nothing. Right? So, but God made it like in IKEA. It's almost complete, you just have to assemble it. It's about assembly. God takes care about the rest. You just take care about the assembling it together. How do you feel when we complete assembling things together and they function? Wow. That's what we have. But what if you do not read the instructions and you try to assemble it against the law? What happens? There's no integrity, there's no service, it doesn't stick, it doesn't work. The plumber puts it together, he goes home, 20 minutes later, psh, there's a flood, the pipe collapses, you know what I'm talking about. Or you find a leak, because they didn't do it by the rules. And that's why I love this story about, there's a story in the Zohar about Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, who's a great sage, a Tana, who is the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. And he sits in front of his house learning with another sage. And there comes by that guy that he was fixing the roofs, that was his profession. Probably he had this like a donkey with the something, and with all the tools that he needed, and a sign, roof fixer. Okay, people didn't have at that time Google and not, they could look for someone, or they just walked around and you all asked them to come fix the roof. So the guest is telling Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, Rabbi Pinchas, you have a roof leak. You have a leak in your roof. Here's the guy who fixes the roof. You should call him to fix your roof. So Rabbi Pinchas calls the guy and says, hello, come over. The guy says, how can I help you? You need to fix the roof. He says, Rabbi Pinchas, first of all, I have a question. We and my friend, we have a discussion. The discussion is, who is the real happy person? Can you help us with that? So the roofer is saying, I think and I believe that the rich person is the happy person. So says Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, thank you so much. I wish you a very good day. Bye-bye. The friend is asking Rabbi Pinchas, what are you asking philosophical questions? And we didn't have this discussion that you just said. And why are you asking that? You need to fix the roof. And Rabbi Pinchas said, the person who thinks that the rich person is the happy person, I cannot trust him to fix my roof. He has no values. His only value is money. You fix somebody's roof. How do you know you fixed your roof? You have to wait for the rain. Now the rain is coming and the roof is leaking. Go and look for him. You know what I'm saying? How many times does that happen? Too many times. So the Ark of the Covenant is Noach and the Ark. It is the Ark in every synagogue. It's the same thing. The Ark is meaningless without the Covenant. The Covenant is meaningless without the Ark, because good intentions need also good actions. וכל עוד שלא נקיים בו הברית לא בא אל התיבה. And as long as the covenant did not come to its completion with Noach, he could not enter the ark. So what was the ark? Was that a real physical ark? The ark was a huge box, but not very big. It was huge. But what's the size of a normal zoo? Much bigger than the Ark of Noah. And by the way, the Ark, if you read, there was only one tiny window that was locked during the whole time of the flood, for almost a year. Do you really think you can put in the box like this all of the animals, and how would they survive that year? Or are we talking about, there was an ark, something, but are we talking about the ark as a place, as the Zohar is saying? It's a sphere. It's a frequency. It's a place. There are some people that wherever they go, nobody can hurt them. And there are people, they go in the safest place and they always get hurt. Those have an ark, those do not have. Those have an ark, and those do not have an ark. Those people get hurt in every occasion by anyone, anything. They don't have an ark. An ark is not just a physical building. The Titanic was a perfect ark, much bigger than Noah's ark. It sunk. It sunk. Okay? So, when we are talking about being able to be lucky, being able to control your destiny, being able to improve and to repeat, but in a better way, the year, you need Noah's Ark. What do I mean Noah's Ark? That's why it's here being read over here. You need to understand that having that ability to fight for keeping the covenant, which means, yes, keeping the covenant means a lot of moments of discomfort. I wish there was no covenant. I could have done just this and this. No, you don't understand. That's your bliss. The covenant is what connects you to the upper world. But you have to be consciousness of it. That when keeping the covenant, you really, what are you doing when you're doing that? I'm connecting my life to the upper realm. And when I connect my life to the upper realm, I'm doing it in a very simple place of interest. The same way I'm not going to put my finger in the socket, an electrical socket. The same way I'm not going to go out of the covenant, because that's how the universe is wired. You want the flow to go through your life, you have to go with the flow. And how do we know? All kinds of societies that were based on evil, robbery, cheatery, whatever, they do not last long because they have a self-destructive mechanism. And you see that people do not have any awe of any covenant. They just do what they feel like. So they are disasters, walking disasters. As a person, and if they create a society, the society is a walking disaster, right? Look at all of those failing states around the world. Yeah, some of the people are very religious, but you see the way of behavior, no integrity. Okay.
Just a second.
So now in order to finish, we understand that the whole story of Parashat Noach is about the person's commitment to spiritual values. That spirituality and worldly success have to go hand to hand. You cannot have worldly success. You can have, you know who said it? You can cheat a lot of people for a long time, but you cannot cheat everybody all the time. Right? You can cheat a lot of people for a short time. Because you can teach some people for a long time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why we have to understand that learning spirituality in order to become people of value and is essential for the feel of success, that you feel that your life is bearing fruits. And that's why it says also in the Zohar that in our generation, the Zohar is Noah's Ark. The Zohar is Noah's Ark. Why? By connecting to the Zohar, you train yourself to connect to that level that is called Yesod. You understand that values are not just dry values because it says so, but it's also heart and soul. It's something that it's mostly something you don't see. That flow, you cannot see it, but you can see the results. Do you see the flow of bliss in the arteries of the tree? No, but you can see when the fruits are coming on the tree. Correct? And so why these two cultures? One culture has been destroyed. They went against all the laws. Starting with sexual misconduct, but we know the moment there's sexual misconduct, everything else goes by. It's like, you know, being honest, who cares? It's about, I'm here to make money. I don't care about being honest. The more people like this exist, the more dysfunctional the society is. How do you solve the problem? How do you solve the problem? People don't trust anymore their government. They don't trust whoever gives them their services. They don't trust the banks. They don't trust companies, big corporations. Why? Because they know those people are not into service. They are here into how to get as much from you to their pocket. The moment you feel that from a company, stay away. Stay away, because power corrupts. Power corrupts. It's also about politicians, about everyone, everything. Only when people have spiritual integrity. Why? Because they answer to a higher authority. It's not that you can trust them more. It's more lucky to be attached to them because they are lucky. It's not a matter of chance. It's a matter of attachment to the right frequencies. So, we see it in reality. Every culture that achieved that place of corruption stopped, disappeared, collapsed. And that also the message of the next one. The story about the Tower of Babel.
Corrupt.
They were corrupt. Not exactly. They were united. They loved each other. They cared for each other. But they rebelled against God. What was the corruption? They were supporting each other. They were loyal to each other. That's why it says, God says, if there's a group of people, they are loyal to each other and they give service to each other, nothing, no harm can happen to them. So the Zohar says, one of the most amazing articles in the Zohar, it's in the end of, it's on verse 385, and it says, "ראה מה שכתוב, אין עם אחד ושפה אחת לכולם." See what it says, it's one nation, one language to all of them. משום שהם בלב אחד ורצון אחד, because they are one heart, one desire. ומדברים בלשון הקודש, they're speaking the holy language. כן, ואתה לא ייבצר מהם כל אשר יזמו לעשות. Nothing can stop what they want to do. Nobody can stop them from achieving their goal. Okay? And because they were one desire, 386, and they were united, and the judgment cannot control them. We, or us, the friends who are dealing with the Torah, and we are in one heart and one desire, of course, nothing can stop us from achieving what we want. Why? The moment you have unity, the moment you follow the rules, you're going to achieve whatever you want. However, the people of the Tower of Babel, they had one little mistake. They tried to rebel against God. How do you rebel against God? As I said, like, where are you going to go? No, they wanted to use all the wisdom of knowing the power of the angels and the Hebrew letters to rewire the universe. Why? So if I'm selfish, I'm not going to be punished for that. They wanted to create the darknet, an alternative network of powers that works on dark desires. What was the result? They forgot the Hebrew. Why? Because Hebrew is a holy language. It's like you cutting the tree that you are sitting on. How is Hebrew built of? What are the letters made of? Sounds. How does a sound is made of? That's how sound is made of. There's a friction, which means you have a desire. The light of God comes into you and you say, please no, I want to share with others. I don't want to take it all for myself. That's called on the second day, and God created the rakia. What is rakia? A screen. We humans have the ability to make a screen. You want something? Screen it. What does it mean? Stop. Think about others too. Yeah, but I want just for myself. That will kill you. against the rules of the universe. Selfish is not healthy. Selfish people are more sick, more negative, more pessimistic. Why? They don't connect to the bliss. They don't have Noah, they don't have the ark. They don't have the law, they don't have the covenant. Selfish people just go by one God, me. That's a false God. Being able to say, screen, stop, share it. You're connecting to the universe the way it's structured. Do you see the light rays flying here in the air? No. But you see them when they bounce from a screen. Do you see somebody who's just here just for the take? No. You see the people that took their talent, their money, the opportunities, the energy, and they made a difference for others. They bear fruits. They connect to the tree of life. They connect to rest, completion, and continuation. This is the secret of this parasha. Thank you.